My name is Barry Allen. And I am the fastest man alive.
Listen to me. There's a war coming. A terrible war.
You have failed this city.
Hi, everyone. This is the Fandom Zone, episode 18, for the week ending July 25th, 2015. And I am Karen, your co-host. And with me is the other co-host, Charles. Hi, Charles.
Hello, Karen, and hello, special guest host.
And we have a special guest host. Taking away my thunder.
Yeah, that's right.
And this special guest host is very, very near and dear to my heart. He is to blame for me getting into podcasting.
Yes.
We started out on the Chuck podcast, and then we did a Farscape podcast, which we mentioned last week with Jesse, and it is Lou. Hi, Lou.
Hi, Lou.
Greetings from Canada. How's everybody doing down there?
How's
We're
everything?
okay.
How's everything in the Great White North?
It's pretty green right now. It's nice and sunny. So up on near in the high
it's more the-
20s,
so more
70s,
the-
80s.
The Green White North at the moment, or
It
the
is.
Great Green North. That's right.
Exactly,
That's what I
yes.
wanted.
Yes.
Awesome.
Lovely.
Awesome.
Light till 10:30 at night. It's great.
It feels like I'm swimming here. It is so humid.
Is it? Oh, yeah. It's very dry here. We don't get humidity.
Yeah, it's like 100% humidity here. So I am suffering
Well, it's,
with my allergies.
as we're doing weather forecasts, it's very low humidity here in Ohio, but hot.
Wow.
So
Yeah, I could deal with hot.
yeah.
It's in like the 80s to 90s here, which is fine, but
Right.
100% humidity without rain. I mean, 100% humidity and rain is okay, but 100% humidity and no rain is blah.
And now here's Bob with sports. No.
Exactly. But yeah, so gross. This is the time of year when I would love to be living in Canada, but then when it, starts snowing, I would be like out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Every rose has its thorn.
Exactly. It snows here too, and I hate it.
Every rose has its thorn.
And I hate it too.
I like the start of one of these episodes we're going to talk about with the Christmas theme. That felt very homey.
I know,
Right.
right?
I see what you did there with the segue. That was very, very clever.
So-
Well played, sir.
Why don't we start talking about The Flash? We will be talking about Birds of Prey, the 5th episode of season 1, Sins of the Mother. But we will also be talking about The Flash, which is the 9th episode of season 1, The Man in the Yellow Suit. And it happened to be a Christmas-themed episode, which I had forgotten until I started watching it again. And I was like, what? Oh, right. Christmas.
A lack
And
of the white stuff, though.
I know.
Severely.
What better than Christmas in July?
That's what I was just going to say. And it just happens to be the last week of July. And I was like, oh, yeah, Christmas in July. That's awesome. So, and I don't know, do you guys do that up there in Canada, Christmas in July? Is that a thing?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's some, I don't even know how it originated here.
They probably just do it here to have sales.
Sales.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like a mid-year sale thing down here. Christmas in
okay.
July. Oh, here, come and get some stuff.
No,
Come-
they just call it summer sales.
Okay.
The days of summer.
Yeah, it's just a Christmas in July. Like, oh, here's all the stuff we had left over that we can't get rid of here. Go and buy it. So, and they do these, cliche, oh, Santa, ho, ho, ho. And he comes out and he's like sweating and, all this stuff. It's lame, but it's a thing. And it's the first thing that popped into my head when I saw it. I was, and of course it looks like that on the show because there's no snow
Right.
on the show. And where is Flash?
It's filmed in Vancouver.
Vancouver. It rains there a lot,
Right, but
even in the winter.
Central City, at least in the comics, is supposed to be in the Midwest, like where I am.
Which should have snow, right?
It should have snow because yeah,
Right.
we get snow plenty in
Right.
Christmas time. But
Right.
as far as the Arrow Flash verse, who knows where it is? And
Yeah.
it's probably
I assume it's supposed to be like
it's close to Starling, which is like like over
Great
there by the
Lakes, but
coast because
I thought it was Great Lakes-ish
I'm not. It should be.
area.
Yeah.
They're kind of weird with their geography.
Geography, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And I know Gotham's supposed to be like New York Sea.
yeah.
Yeah.
If
So
they were
anyway.
if they were going by the comics, Starling City should be like Seattle. But
Oh, okay.
yeah,
And isn't Central City near it? Like
not-
close enough that you could drive?
well, it's close enough for the Flash to run, but
Well, sure.
yeah, because he's the Flash. He can
Yeah.
he can
Okay.
he can make that trek easy. But
All right. All right. Anyway.
doesn't he have to stop for McDonald's?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I gotta do this now.
What is this bizarre segue that's happening right now?
Okay. So we're gonna talk about the man in the yellow suit.
See, Lou, this is why we run long.
Right.
Mhm. I'm used to it. No worries.
You should you should be.
He is. He's
Yeah.
used to my running long, that's for sure. So here's the deal. The whole episode revolves around the man in the yellow suit, as the title implies. And they find that the man in the yellow suit is back in
Mhm.
Central City. And I did quote, air quotes, back.
With,
And
with lasers.
laser beams. Uh,
Laser eyes.
yeah, laser eyes, definitely. He has weirdo eyes. He's back in Central City, and they know that he is the person that killed Barry's mother. So Barry is very interested. I saw that. Barry is very interested in, I'm like that dog in Up. Whenever you put something
Squirrel.
Squirrel. So Barry is very interested in
Danger,
catching him.
danger, Will Robinson, danger.
Barry is very interested in catching him whenever he shows up in Central City.
Ooh, Serenity.
Well-
Nice.
So
Everybody's pulling out their toys. This is great.
did you just show something? Because I didn't see it. Show
Oh,
it again.
sorry.
Yeah, it's
No, it's all right. You didn't make any noise. So, oh, very nice.
The Christmas ornament.
I like it. Oh, that's cool.
take my love, take my land, take me where I cannot stand. I don't care. I'm still
Squirrel.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Barry wants to catch the man in the yellow suit,
Danger, danger.
and
function of an environmental control robot is to supply all data pertinent to this particular field.
That's awesome.
Lou, you're
I
doing
didn't-
worse than we are.
He's in-
Danger, Will Robinson.
Yes, that's brilliant. I didn't know it had sound effects. That's brilliant.
What is this bizarre segue that's happening right now?
Two
Okay,
already.
sorry. I'll behave from now
Oh,
on.
it's all right.
We're only 8 minutes in.
It's all right. You have the vibe going of our podcast already.
It's short attention span podcast.
SAST. Jon Stewart's first gig on Comedy Central, by the way.
Right.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Nope.
Oh, that was his first gig on Comedy Central.
Mm.
That it started before it was Comedy Central, when it was the Comedy Channel,
You,
before they merged with Ha,
right.
and they became Comedy.
You go, obscure trivia girl.
Thank you. That was when he was simply a comedian. All right, so yeah, I know I'm weird. I was, along with Chris Hardwick. I feel like this is my little in sync thing with Chris Hardwick. I was really into comedians then, and that was my thing.
And you still are.
Well, yeah, I kind of still am, but I got out of it, and then I'm, now I'm back.
And they pulled me back in.
Okay, so really, let's talk about this
The
episode.
Flash.
The Flash.
It's a great episode.
I know. Why are we
Yeah.
Straying from it. Okay, the man in the yellow suit.
Mm-hmm.
The man in the yellow suit is back in Central City.
Yes.
And Barry finds out. And of course, Barry wants to catch him because the man in the yellow suit is the speedster that killed his mother. And he wants to catch him so that he can get his dad out of prison.
Right.
So,
Yes. These dramatic pauses are killing me.
so they're trying to find out why he's in Central City, and they find out that he goes to this competing lab,
Mm-hmm. Mercury Labs.
Mercury Labs. Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
this is when they pay a visit to who?
Dr. Tina McGee,
That's right.
played
And
by
she-
by Amanda Pays, reprising her role from the 1990 to 91 Flash TV series.
Right. So
That's-
this would be. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that co-star John Wesley Shipp, who now plays Barry's dad, Henry Allen.
Right.
Yep.
So this is the first time that those two characters are back in the series.
Mm-hmm.
The Flash. She plays the same character.
A different version of the character.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
the same
Yeah,
name.
same role.
Right.
Right.
And of course, he played the Flash in the original Flash series. So, but they were both in this episode. So it's the first time they are both in an episode of this iteration of the Flash, which is very cool. It's the first time they're both in it. Okay, so let me get back to my Flash page. Sorry. All right. So that's the trivia for that part.
A well-oiled machine, aren't we?
Yeah. I'm so sorry. This is the problem when I lead this because there's just so many things that I have to keep track of. So they go to Mercury Labs and they find out that Tina is experimenting with tachyons, and that's when they realize that the man in the yellow suit, or the, what is it that Cisco calls him? Not the Reverse Flash, but the
Speed Psycho.
The Speed Psycho, or the Backwards Flash, or something like that. He says Speed Psycho,
Yeah,
and then he says something
he's
else.
like, I'm not trying to name him.
Right.
When he calls him Speed Psycho, that wasn't me trying to name him.
Right. And of course, later on, they call him the Reverse Flash, which tends to, it looks like it sticks near the end of the season.
Right.
I like Speed Psycho personally, but of course, that would never stick. So they decide that he is going after the tachyons. And if you notice, when you watch this episode, Harrison, he mentions time travel, but he kind of mentions that as a side note. He says power and all this other stuff, and then he goes, and maybe some time travel, maybe. If you notice, he doesn't really emphasize the time travel, because I'm thinking he doesn't want to really, push the time travel thing. Obviously.
Not yet anyway.
Right. He doesn't want to put them on that trail.
Yeah. It's only episode 9. He doesn't want to play all his cards just yet.
Well, but not just that. He doesn't want to let them, he doesn't want to put them on that. He doesn't want to drop any breadcrumbs for them. Right? I mean, he says power, or whatever, but he and time travel, because then they might realize that there's some time travel involved and start to think there's some hinkiness happening with this. As it is right now, they could just, the man in the yellow suit could just be aging normally, as far as they know, right? That he killed his mother, and then he just ages, and here he is again. They don't realize that, he's actually come back from the future, and, all this stuff. So, it was just my opinion watching it that, he was really trying to de-emphasize this time travel thing. But of course, if anyone knows anything about tachyons, it's time travel time. I mean, It's tachyons.
Yep.
So
Anybody that's watched Star Trek: The Next Generation,
anybody that's watched anything,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean any science fiction
right?
whatsoever knows that tachyons is time travel right off the bat. I mean, unless in this universe that they live in, tachyons doesn't mean time travel, but
Doctor Who. Oh, sorry.
yeah, exactly. I mean, anything says tachyons. So they decide that they're going to try and convince Tina that they're going to use her tachyon device as bait.
Mm-hmm. And she's not down with that, is she?
No, she
Nope.
is not. And there's a reason she's not down with that, because it could get stolen. And of course, Harrison's all on board for it, right?
Yeah. And Tina is not a fan of Harrison, is she?
No, because they were competitors.
Right.
And
Rivals.
the only reason they're not competitors anymore is because of his explosion. And they would definitely still be competitors if it hadn't been for that. So there's still a rivalry happening because he's jealous of her success and she knows it and realizes that he would use any sort of leg up to, to sabotage her. And again, I'm just deducing here, but I'm assuming she thinks that stealing this tachyon thing would,
Mm-hmm.
of course, undermine whatever is happening with her. So this would definitely be an opportunity to get this technology, and she's right to be concerned about it. And she says, "Oh, you're working with the police now," rolls eyes, and
Yeah.
that's pretty convenient. So she's not happy about it. And she definitely does not want to use her tachyon device as bait.
Right. So, Lou, what did you think of Barry having kind of like strong arming her into this decision to use that device?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that was kind of like the whoa. Uh, that's an edge to Barry that we've never really seen before in this
Mm-hmm.
season, and I don't think we see much of it later on. It's if there's one thing I wish they need to do with the series going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of this episode, I'm so, in general, I think a little less of the gosh gee whiz Barry
Yeah.
and a little more of like let's get. It's kind of like the same thing we had with Chuck, where he was a little always too bumbling
Goody.
and nerdy. We want him to
Right.
kind of man up a little bit. So when he did that, and Joe goes like whoa, but you can tell that he didn't like that moment. But this, I think they were just trying to highlight how driven he is to confront this man in the yellow suit in this episode. So he went outside of his normal behavior, I think, on that moment, and that was kind of like I think a flag for us to say, yeah, he's really intent on getting this resolved as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm. And it's almost kind of an impulsiveness, I think, on Barry's personality. Because I was just watching the episode Rogue Air, where Barry kind of is desperate to get um, the rogues that are still in Star Labs out of Star Labs,
Yeah,
and he's willing to make any deal with Captain Cole so that can happen,
yeah,
regardless of the effect, especially of Joe's approval, because Joe outright says don't do it, and he goes
hmm
ahead and does it. So yeah,
yeah,
I think it's another example, kind of like in this episode where
yep.
Barry doesn't. He's got his own ideas of how this needs to play out and what he needs to do.
hmm Yeah, it's an interesting tension because, and again, outside this episode, if you guys don't like doing that, let me know. But I'm just thinking of the whole season.
Hmm.
We see the things that Barry's going to be doing down the road, and it's at this point it's kind of hard to reconcile because he's still so impetuous and
Right.
naive. He's got a lot of seasoning he needs to do before he gets to where we think he's going. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out as the series goes forward.
No, we're good with that. spoilers are okay.
Yeah.
The season has already aired, so
Yeah.
um,
It's fair game as far as we're concerned.
right.
Okay,
By
because I
now.
didn't
And I
know
think
if people
Yeah.
are watching along, maybe with
Yeah.
your podcast.
Well,
or
we're
something
jumping
like that.
around now, so we're not chronological
Okay.
by any means.
yeah, this
Oh, so
is
we're just like the series.
Yeah,
then.
exactly.
exactly.
Exactly. We're wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this is a turning point for him, especially because he realizes this there are stakes involved in this episode, that it's not all fun and games. You know, especially with this episode starting out all, oh, I'm going to help this guy hang his lights. And, oh, I'm going to, go around the tree. And, it starts off really light
cute. Yeah.
and funny. And then he realizes, I've got to catch this guy. And he even flashes back to his mother's death. And it gets real serious.
Yeah.
And
This episode does take a dark turn, doesn't it?
yeah, it does. And I really feel like that's kind of an analogy for the season, essentially, is that this episode is kind of that turning point for him, is that, especially when Reverse Flash, Captain Zoom, whatever we're going to call him at this point, says to him, we've been fighting for a long time. And you and I, we have a lot of fighting left to do. And, and Barry realizes there's fighting. This is fighting.
Mm-hmm.
This is not me just running around saving people and not dying. I'm healing from everything. And,
Yeah, the stakes are raised in this
right.
episode. And that's one of the reasons I was thinking this would be a great episode to talk about, because it is kind of a game changer for both Barry and for the series.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Because I think this episode is when it raises its game up to the
Right.
next level, especially in the fight between the Flash and the Reverse Flash, their first confrontation
Right.
in that football field.
Right. I agree.
So it's kind of they step their game up big time.
There are things that happen in this episode that tell you that telegraph it to you, which we'll talk about. And then, there are things that also change in other people's relationships that telegraph that same thing of a something moving forward. The relationships moving forward. And I'm not just talking about Iris and Eddie moving forward, but I'm talking about even the relationship between Flash and Reverse Flash moving forward in this episode. And of course there's Caitlin and Ronnie. So that is another page turning. So there's, many things that kind of do a fulcrum turn here in this episode. And I thought it was very interesting that, so early in the season, I mean, this is episode, what, 8?
9. Yeah.
Very early in the season to kind of take that turn and say, hey, this is where we're going to go dark.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you would think this would be in the kind of episode that would be about episode 16, maybe
12,
12, even just
there.
somewhere in the somewhere in the back
in the early
9.
teens, yeah.
Yeah, the back 9 of the season.
Somewhere in there. But this is early to start going dark, to start talking about like his death, or start the real fighting, especially on a show that seems much lighter than Arrow.
Right.
Yep.
This is about funny names for
supervillains, yeah.
Villains. Yeah. I mean, it's very light and airy, and it's a much lighter show than Arrow. So anyway, so they take this tachyon device, and it is strong arming her. It's Barry actually saying, "We have to have it."
Mm-hmm.
And it's
he wasn't going to take no for an answer.
Right. And he pretty much just undercuts everything and says, you just have to give it to us. That's it.
And Tina calls him out on it, because she says, well, I know why you get along with Harrison so well now.
Mm-hmm. And he's not fond of that, but he's like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Right.
I'm okay with it. You know, as long as it gets me the tachyon device, whatever. And at this point, you know, Harrison is still his hero,
Yeah.
but he's not thrilled about being compared to her enemy. So he's kind of torn on that. And he realizes he's not acting like himself, I think, but he doesn't care. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
He
Yep.
he needs it. So he justifies it by saying, I'm going to get my dad out of prison and I'm going to solve my mother's murder, because he thinks this is going to be it. I think he thinks this is going to be it. He's going to catch this guy with this bait, and
Mhm.
this will be the end of it.
Mhm.
No.
Because that's how his life has been going so far. You know, he gets the superpower, he
Yep.
catches the villain.
Right.
Okay, so.
And everything's not as simple as Barry would like to think it was.
And again, this is the turning point for him where he
Right.
realizes that's not how life works for him. And again, it's a mirror to other things that happen in this episode, is that life is not so easy for Barry.
Right.
Things do not turn out the way that he plans
wants.
to.
Yeah.
So in a parallel storyline, he and Iris have their little Christmas time and they exchange gifts, and Iris gives him a really nice microscope thing, which
I kind of saw it as more the wah because
yeah,
he gives her this like really touching gift.
well, I'm going to talk about
Heartfelt.
that.
Yeah,
But
heartfelt gift. And
I want to talk
I
about
got
the
you a
microscope,
microscope. It's really good. It's supposed
which is
to
a
be
really nice microscope, but he works at Star Labs, right?
He's got access to a much better
Doesn't need it.
Yeah.
Doesn't need it.
No.
It's a nice gift. I have to admit, it was a really nice microscope, but it's going to be one of those things that he just kind of puts on a shelf
Yep.
and goes, wow, Iris gave me a really nice microscope.
I'm curious to the both of you where you guys where your headset was with the Iris character at this point in the series, because I know from the internet and that a lot of people were finding her to be like the major irritant going through through the show.
Yeah.
And at this point, you know, I was okay with her being rather oblivious to the fact that Barry was in love with her, because you could kind of buy that they grew up together, and I think he just sort of built up this blind spot. But when he gave her that ring, I mean, even she had to know that there was something more going on there.
Right.
So that was kind of like,
I-
okay, this better get resolved quickly, because now this is going into territory that a lot of fans are not just going to put up with this storyline anymore.
Go ahead.
Before he said I love you in this episode, I thought, well, there's part of her that just doesn't want to realize it. Doesn't want to know. Right? Because
yeah, I agree.
They're brother and sister, essentially, in her mind.
She's kind of in denial about it in this stage.
Right.
She's like,
she's also
you're my brother, or you're my stepbrother.
Right. And she's seriously dating someone else.
Right.
So she doesn't want to see it. But I think she realizes that, you know, he's got feelings that she doesn't have at this point. Or that she doesn't want to have, whatever the deal is with her. And she was beginning to get on my nerves at this point.
Right.
Just starting to. And this is pretty early in a series for me to be kind of disliking a main character.
Yeah, I think Iris has been, as far as the writing goes, it's been a major disappointment. Because
you mean compared to the comic book character?
Well, exactly. Because I think we've got Iris in the comics is a much more independent, more intelligent, more
intuitive,
supportive. Because Iris in here, and it's not as bad at this point, but later in the season, she becomes a little bit more self-absorbed. And, you know, she gets mad when people are like keeping secrets from her and she finds out.
Yeah.
And, you know, she has often like little, not really like huge tantrums, but a little minor tantrums about things.
Yeah.
and she gets, like gives everybody the cold shoulder a lot. And so it gets a little annoying because it's like, hey, look, why aren't you like on board with everybody else?
Right.
Right.
She's kind of like,
Even Eddie takes things better than she does.
yeah, and Eddie and her have friction because like, Eddie's in on the secret.
How come
Barry
you
the Flash,
kept it from me?
right? So
And, and my point was that he's a policeman and he kind of has to keep stuff from her.
yeah, exactly.
Being a policeman.
It's like, yeah, I'm a cop. I have, it's kind of part of criminal investigations. Maybe you've
Yeah.
heard of that.
It can't just be
Can't just divulge
yeah.
everything,
right.
Yeah, she was a bit of a spoiled princess, and I think her immaturity showed up in that
Yeah.
plot line. But I was okay with her getting mad at the other people for keeping the truth from her because she was basically right. Like,
well, yeah,
knowledge is power, and because everybody knew except her. Like, she was the last person to find out.
but again,
which
she's
is kind of telling too. So
if she's supposed to be a reporter, though, she
Yeah.
should have figured it out on her own
yeah,
Yeah. Duh.
yeah. So
instead of just like, like here we go through the season, and all of a sudden she shows up at Star Labs,
But-
seeing Barry in the costume, and going, "Hey, I guess you're the Flash."
Right. Right.
But I tell you, in this episode, the moment that her character bothered me the most was when she walked in on Barry and he was looking at the board with
Yeah.
about her mother's crime,
Hmm.
and then she just kind of goes, "Oh, I didn't know you still did that," and then she just launches into this whole other thing, and I thought at that moment, like, here's this guy obviously still torn up by this thing, and she's not being very
Sensitive.
supportive or sensitive,
No.
and
Yeah.
she's very me focused. That
Yeah.
to me was probably the low point for her, that character for
Yeah.
me in the whole season, when she just sort of glossed over Barry, still obsessing over that crime board. So that was the moment that her character bothered me the most.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's the character's fault. I think it's the writing.
Yeah.
Yes.
The- Because they could depict her as much more supportive of
Yeah.
Barry and
But
his quest.
it's they're juggling a lot of balls, and this episode again is like a great example of the whole season. There's so much big stuff going on in this episode, and there's a lot of the small stuff. I mean, how many episodes do you get? Not one,
Right.
but two father to son talks. Like, that's
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing, and both of them are equally emotional. And one's with the real father, and the other one's with the stepfather. And I was just like,
Yeah.
I like the writing on this series. It's just top notch, and
I agree.
And they burn through a lot of story,
Right.
and they've laid a lot of seeds going forward. So there's fortunately, the Flash has a very rich history that I guess they can do it. But I'm kind of worried that I hope it doesn't do the arc, because I like the first 3 seasons of the Arrow, but it kind of lost me after that, and I haven't really watched the 4th season at all, and I'm afraid the
Well, it
Flash
hasn't,
might
hasn't
go in
aired
the,
yet, so that's probably why you haven't watched
or
it.
okay, then maybe the first 2. Sorry,
Yeah, the first 2.
the 3rd season
The
I
3rd season.
I lost it lost me.
Right.
I hope the Flash doesn't run into that problem, because Barry to me is a better character
Right.
than what they've done with the Arrow. They've painted themselves in a corner with that character, and they basically have to restart. But the damage to me has been done. But with Barry, even though I think he's a little still too jolly gee whiz, I want him to toughen up a bit. But they've got so much that they're doing here. I'm just kind of blown away by the possibilities of what they're going to be able to do going forward.
Now, I'm betting you both know that I'm not a huge feminist. I mean, I like female characters, and I especially like strong female characters.
Well,
But I
can't
also-
wait to talk about Birds of Prey then.
Well, no, I mean, I
I'm
I
just
like
teasing you.
female characters. I also like male characters. It just, well-written characters in general.
Exactly.
Um,
Captain Ahab.
It shouldn't matter as long as they're well
right,
written.
exactly right. That's how I feel.
Right.
But especially in these 2 shows, the female characters,
Yeah.
Arrow and the Flash, the female
Right.
characters are just not written well.
They're underwritten.
Underwritten. The actresses that play them, I think, have the potential to be great,
Right.
but
Yeah.
they're
When do Caitlin and Iris get as good of scenes as Henry Allen, or those Henry Allen Barry scenes, which are just gold,
right.
and they're so powerful, or Barry Allen and Joe.
Right.
Like, when do we see something like that?
Right. Right.
with
Or
the female
Felicity.
characters.
Why do we get it? Why don't we get back to the
Right.
original Felicity? Because the original Felicity was great.
Mhm.
Yep.
The bantery sort of really, really sharp Felicity that actually like got stuff right off the bat, that saw through things. Now we just have this one-dimensional Felicity.
Whose
That-
whole life revolves around the other character.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Felicity exists to
Support.
her world revolves around Oliver.
Right.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm hoping with
Yeah.
Legends that the female characters are going to be stronger, only because I don't want it to be the
Right.
male characters are all knowing, all seeing, and the female characters are there to support them.
And that's kind of why I've mentioned this before on this podcast, that I prefer Oliver with Sarah Lance
Yes, she was a
more
very strong character.
more than I do with Oliver and Felicity. And I know that angers a lot of Felicity people, but I just
She
think
was just a stronger character.
I think Sarah is a much stronger character. Yeah, exactly.
And
That's
And I think Felicity can do better than Oliver.
yeah,
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 because
I'm okay with that too.
he kind of treats her like crap.
Right.
Well, he's just committed too many sins too. That's,
Right.
You know,
Yeah. She could be
once a
right.
murderer, always a murderer. But you
Yep.
can't you can't wipe
But
that away.
Plenty of other superheroes in the Justice League.
Yep. Yeah, like
in the comic
Captain
books,
Adam.
Oliver is supposed to be a player, a big time player.
I liked Felicity with Ray.
Yeah, that's what I said, Felicity
Yeah,
and Ray.
yeah.
Even though Ray in the comic books is supposed to be with someone else too, but
Right.
Anyway, back to Flash.
Yeah.
Yes, Iris annoyed me in this episode very much. To answer your question, she was pretty clueless.
Yeah, that only that moment at the crime board. Other than that, I actually didn't mind her character, and I thought the way she was written within the constraints of what they have to do with everything else, I thought she did as well as they could do with her. And I do like where she's ended up, so I'm okay with that. But
At
that
the end of
moment
the
at the crime
season-
board,
Yeah, that didn't feel right.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like she said, "Oh, you're still doing that? Okay, me, 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 me."
yeah.
Now she was the one helping Barry with the crime board, trying to figure
Sure.
clues and go through research and stuff. That would be one thing.
Yeah,
I
but
think that would make her much more likable.
sure. And by the end of the season, she was better.
Yep.
Right.
But between here and there is
Right.
a whole nother story. With oh hey, I'm working at Jitters. Hi, I'm
Yeah.
with Eddie. Me, 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 me.
At least they got her out of the coffee shop.
Yeah, I know. She was
Yeah.
just irritated.
And with Eddie gone now,
Right.
But
and maybe there's a
Well,
chance. Well,
gone.
or is he ...
Right.
Mark?
Exactly.
Yeah, but
Uh,
presumably out of the picture.
right.
And then
Well,
now-
at least out of her picture.
Right. And now that she does
that
know
way.
what's going on,
Right.
maybe she could be more useful.
The only thing that bothers me about that is now that she loves him or whatever, she only discovers that she loves him after she found out that he's the Flash. And in that alternate timeline, she decided she loved him before she found out that he was the Flash. And I would have preferred she fell in love with Barry.
Right, first.
Right. And it really bothers me that it's like, I love the Flash. I
Kinda
don't.
like-
is
Kinda
that
like
clearly stated yet? I didn't really get that impression.
No,
I
not
thought she
really,
was-
but she's, it's kind of implied.
yes. Well, especially if you read the future newspapers, but
Right.
yeah.
She's got the googly eyes for him in Star
Yeah.
Labs and all that. But it's only after she learns he's the Flash that she kind of has googly eyes and is going, "Oh, I'm taking a second look at him now." That sort of
Yeah.
thing.
I think she's. I don't know. I think she's realizing, like, she felt, very empathetic towards his life before, but I think she's seeing now that really it's even more. There's even more pressure and drama and whatnot on him than she realized before.
Because
that,
he's the Flash.
yeah,
Right.
and he's trying to. Yeah, well, but because of the Flash, it's also opened up to these even deeper conflicts.
I know.
You know,
It
he's
just,
got even a
Well,
greater weight on his shoulders than she realized before. So
yeah, it
that's
just kind of
naturally going to
bugs
make
me,
him
that's
more
all.
empathetic.
I would have rather she just realized that maybe there was a little love there before. That's all.
Well,
You know.
I don't think she's still gotten over Eddie yet. So,
No. I get that.
and if he
Should
comes
she-
back,
she
dun,
she
dun,
needs
dun.
the rebound guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
oh
gonna
yeah,
be-
that's true.
She needs to have the rebound guy, and then
Cisco.
yeah, make it Cisco. He hasn't got much to do.
No, Cisco's got the silver whatever, right?
the golden glider's hitting
Golden
on him.
glider, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
that's not the same.
Hi, Cisco.
I'm not falling for that again, except
It's-
maybe I will.
I really hate being a good guy this week.
Yeah. Okay, so
Cisco kid.
back to the man in the yellow suit.
Yeah.
They do lure the man in the yellow suit with the tachyon device, and they get him in a chamber,
Mhm.
and they are interrogating him about many things.
Right.
About why he was trying to steal the device. Why
Why he killed Barry's mother.
Yeah, exactly.
right? Why he killed Barry's mother. Of course, he ignores him about Barry's mother, and he goes straight for Wells. They're talking to each other. Interesting. And they trade barbs about each other. And of course, knowing what I know now, I'm rolling my eyes and I'm going,
Yep. Well, this is all to throw suspicion,
yeah,
now-
he's doing
now
it
the-
on purpose
Yeah.
to make it look like it's not the same person.
And now that we know what we know,
Right.
it's just you got to picture Wells just laughing to himself as he's
And
doing this.
It's pretty narcissistic, if you ask me, that he's talking to himself.
Mhm.
You know,
Well, again,
hey,
he's
I'm
trying to
pretty
throw it.
handsome.
He's trying to throw us off.
Right.
The trail.
Right. So he's saying, well, I knew this and I knew that about the trap and blah blah blah. He's monologuing with himself.
Harrison Wells, we meet at last.
Right. It's so stupid. But it's only stupid now that we know it's him. I mean, it was a pretty tense scene.
And the beatdown.
Yeah,
And
he really kicked the crap out of himself.
Yeah. Yeah,
which
he
I'm trying
did.
to figure out how he does that, because if he's throwing the punch, he can't be there at the same time as the punch unless he feels the after effect of the blow. I don't know. It's unless he's just hitting himself with something else.
Mhm.
He
and
could
then
be
making
doing
it look-
this.
Yeah, but he can't. There's nothing to touch if he's throwing the punch, right?
Unless
Unless he pulls it at the last second, and so he gives him
Yeah.
time to move. I guess I don't know, but
I mean, I understand that he's doing it because he's very fast, but
yeah,
it's like if he's in one position.
Yeah.
the
No,
punch,
I
how-
get what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the physics of it.
yeah, it's a bit tough
It's
to
it's
swallow.
you just have to. It's like it's comic books. You have to
Gotta roll with
He
it.
practiced
roll with
a
it.
lot.
Yeah.
He practiced a lot to do it, and he figured out a way to do
Yeah.
it.
Maybe it was just fake blood anyhow that he just.
He may have had a set of
Spread on
like
himself.
brass knuckles or something
Maybe.
that he
Yeah.
threw at himself.
Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself.
My husband does that to the cats all the time.
But I do like how this episode
Oh,
really accomplished the task of making the man in the yellow very much more of an adversary than we ever thought before. For
Oh,
Barry
yeah.
to
Oh, yeah.
face. Like he's totally overpowering him. in
He's
this
he's
episode.
obviously a big bad. I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
as big bads go, he's a big bad.
Right. And of course, it sets him up as the big bad for the entire first season.
Yeah.
It's been the metahuman of the week up till now.
Yep.
And now this is, this is the guy.
Yeah.
And this whole thing when he escapes at this point and, he gets away. And after he beats down himself, he and Barry, of course, have this epic fight. And it it goes all over the place.
Yeah.
And ends up in
In a-
PC Place.
In a very cool way.
Yeah, it is very cool.
This was the first episode that made me go, wow.
Yeah, it was an
I
awesome.
mean, I enjoyed every single episode up till now, but this was the first one that's like, whoa.
Now,
they're
it's not-
they're actually able to do this. This is fantastic.
Right.
Yeah, on a TV budget. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's amazing.
honestly,
Great
It's-
effects.
it was good. I mean, I love the effects, especially with the speed and all that.
Mhm.
It's still not as good as that fight scene in the second Daredevil episode.
Well, it's a different type of
But-
fight.
Right. It's a different type. It was great special effects, though. Really great special effects. And I like how watching this also makes Cisco realize that there were two speedsters.
Yeah.
Mhm. And it plays
That was the
to-
big.
and it-
Dun, dun.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So-
It moves the mystery forward.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think that Wells intended that to happen. Do you think that Wells intended Cisco to realize that?
No, I no, I don't think he was aware that could be a possibility.
Right.
Or if he did, he didn't care.
Okay.
But
But it does
Yeah.
mean
but it
that
does. I think it
things changed.
I think that Cisco was just very observant
Right.
and
Yeah.
picked up on a thread that Wells wasn't thinking.
Right. And
Could
it
be
was a
possible.
variable. It
In
was
his arrogance.
right. It was definitely a variable that changed things.
Right.
And it set up some dominoes that fell in a different direction than what
Right, 'cause-
it was
Yeah, because it essentially sets up the whole time travel.
correct.
So
And it makes Barry realize that at some point it clicks that he was also there.
Mhm.
So, if there's a red streak and a yellow streak, well, that must mean that he's there too. So he was meant to save his mother.
Mhm.
He was there too. TWO or TOO?
Or both. So yeah, that I think that's a variable that Harrison Wells did not expect, and it just happens to be, something that Cisco is very intuitive about. So that's another side effect of Harrison just being so full of himself that
Yeah.
just
Well, he's the bad guy. He's got to be cocky. He does have to monologue.
he monologues
Well,
twice in this
yeah.
with himself,
Right.
which how
Haven't seen that
narcissistic.
since Star Trek 6 with the two Captain Kirks.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but his is broken.
Yeah,
by
he
Paul.
should have had. He should have like Reverse Flash should have had a scene where he goes to Harrison Wells and goes, "You're a really good-looking guy. You know that you're gonna be awesome someday. I just know it. I got a feeling."
You know,
Yeah.
you look like an Ed.
Yeah.
Nice.
But it is cool rewatching these episodes with the knowledge of what's coming down the line, because
Right.
it really brings so many different shades now to almost every line in this episode. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
And
does.
it shows you how well the writers set things up
Yeah.
Yes.
for
Yep.
later payoffs.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't even occur to me that him noticing that,
Mhm.
the two flashes were together would set up a whole different timeline. It's a throwaway line. Really. I mean, you
Right.
realize that it means something, but it's kind of a throwaway line that, oh, well, I guess it means something, but big deal, what? But it really, it has gravitas now. I mean, it's a huge, big
Mhm.
thing. I mean, as far as the rest of the show, it's a huge thing in the last episode.
Yep.
So, I mean, Cisco plays such a big part in the last 3 episodes. He is essentially one of the big damn heroes in the last 3 episodes. I mean, he sacrifices himself literally.
Yeah.
And then, time gets turned back and he remembers sacrificing himself. So, I mean, it's a huge deal.
And then he has to face what happened,
Right.
that the possibility it could happen again.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, he faces that. Hey, you killed me. I mean,
Yeah, and I just like to touch on your throwaway line point.
Sure.
Karen, that you mentioned like Amanda Pay's line when she said that about when Barry forced her to hand over the tachyon thing. That says, "Oh, you're just like Wells." Knowing what we know now, that that line really, really jumps out at you now when you rewatch
Right.
this episode.
Sure.
It's like,
Mhm.
wow, you have
Yeah.
no idea. And
Right.
yeah, small
Yeah.
line,
And
but man, oh man, the
knowing
implications.
that he's not really Harrison Wells, too. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not the person that she competed with, really. So it's crazy.
And-
Such a great cast.
And we get the introduction to the
man.
secret room.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Was
Yeah.
that the first episode this was in? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the revelation, you know.
The giant braille wall.
Yeah, the braille.
Yeah,
exactly,
the Braille wall.
room.
Yeah.
And we saw the
don't-
ring.
Right. I was just going to say, don't we see his
sorry.
ring?
And
Yeah.
it says over and over, be sure to eat your Ovaltine.
Ovaltine, I got gypped.
Sorry, Christmas story
That's
reference.
okay. Yeah.
But-
That's me with my tongue sticking to the
The
pole.
flagpole, yeah.
And also, did you see my little note on here that from IMDb, the trivia?
Yeah.
When Dr. Wells visits his hidden office in Star Labs, a minor news headline towards the bottom of the feature newspaper reveals Wayne Tech merging with Queen Industries, a nod towards Batman and Green Arrow.
Right.
And I never noticed that. Did you notice that?
No.
I remember hearing about it, but yeah, I didn't really make that connection.
Okay.
So that's
Um,
good.
and then of course there's the side story of Ronnie
Mhm.
coming back. Now, was there any reference to why he came back? Did he just come back to see Caitlin?
Well, this was the scene of the accident. So maybe he was drawn, or
Drawn
maybe.
back?
But remember, Firestorm is a fused personality.
Right.
So you've got part of Ronnie rattling around in Professor Stein. So maybe Ronnie in his subconscious wanted to be there to
Okay.
reach out. But because Professor Stein is kind of driving the bus
Okay.
at this point, he has no idea
But we
why.
don't know about Professor Stein at this point.
Right,
No,
right.
we don't, but I'm just saying that maybe
Okay.
that's why he was there without us realizing it. Like
Okay.
looking back retrospectively,
Okay.
that
I
maybe
just wondered if there was any theories as to why he had come back.
no, but again, this is where the accident happened. So
Right. And this is the first appearance of him as Firestorm in the series.
right,
And it's only Ronnie as Firestorm in this episode. It's not the professor. So we don't know as the audience that he is fused, except for the
Yeah.
fact that it was out in all kinds of press releases.
well, he does tell Caitlin, "I'm not Ronnie,"
Right.
and then he goes, "I'm Firestorm." He says the word Firestorm, and then bursts off.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
And of course that's foreshadowing. And
Right.
and we all knew that there was going to be another person playing Firestorm as well. So, as an audience, if you had read any press releases, we knew that it was going to be two people, but
Mhm.
just, he was only Robbie Amell in this episode. So Caitlin sees him, sees that he, has the hands and the head on fire, goes to Iris and asks her about the story. And then, she goes to Cisco and they track him down. And at the end, when all this is happening, they try and talk to him. He's disjointed. He kind of is out of it. And we don't know why, as talking through Caitlin and Cisco, they don't know why he is so disjointed. And it's because he is living with someone else. There's two people in that body.
So he seems crazy.
Right. And he doesn't want to come in to Star Labs. They try and talk him into Star Labs. But at the end of the episode, it's he is there and he saves Barry while Barry and the Reverse Flash are having their fight.
Right.
He interrupts the fight, gets the Reverse Flash and Flash apart, and saves the day, as it were. Now, that's one of the other things I wanted to ask is, do you think that he was also an unknown variable? to the Reverse Flash? Did he realize that Ronnie was going to be there, or
I don't
because
think so. I
he
don't
knows
think so.
stuff from the future, but do you think he knew that
That's
variable?
true.
Because why would he start this fight?
That's a good question. Because, like you said, he does know about Firestorm being from the future,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe he wasn't aware that Firestorm was
Was
in
going to
was
interrupt their fight.
was in play at this
Right,
point.
right.
Um,
I mean, does he know details like that, or does
I
he?
don't know. I don't know. I mean, just because he's from the future doesn't mean that he knows everything.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think he knows everything because he's expressed concern several times over through this season about Barry actually getting hurt severely or something like that. So,
Right. He's
yeah.
there to protect things, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And he's saved Edward a couple times, Eddie a couple
Yeah.
times too.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing he had no idea
Right.
that Ronnie was going to show up and save the day, as it were.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that frustrated him.
Mhm.
So
Now, what I want to know is, though, how did Firestorm know which one was the bad guy and which one was the good guy?
right.
Because he hadn't really met
Yeah.
Barry.
It's a show,
I know,
Charles.
but I'm just saying.
Yeah. It may have just been, that he was watching the fight, and maybe Caitlin had
Maybe he
indicated.
overheard
Yeah.
what was being said.
Right. Caitlin had indicated that Barry or something was the one in red.
Right.
Could have been. He's been lurking.
He's stalking.
Sure. You'd be stalking Caitlin too, right?
Rawr. Hey now. Bound chickle bow.
I think it's funny that she played a superhero in Sky High as well, and now she's in.
That's right. Oh, I
She's
forgot
in-
about that.
Yeah, I love her.
Yeah.
She was great in Sky High. I could watch that movie all the time. I really like that movie. So that was another thing, is that, I thought Firestorm, not only does Barry realize that things aren't as simple as his life has led them to believe, but also Harrison realizes that he can't have all his ducks in a row either.
Right.
Because, Cisco mentions this thing, and that has repercussions that come to play later on. But Firestorm shows up, and it would have been fine if you kids hadn't, it's like the Scooby Gang,
Yep. I would have got away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Firestorm shows up, and
Yeah, and
of
Reverse
course-
Flash does the whole, like, I'll be back.
Right. and then he zips off, and that's the end of that storyline, at least. And then there's the part where Barry lays it out on the table for Iris and says, "Yeah, I love you." And he says, "I love you," and she says, "Oh, I love you too." Oh no, you don't get it. No. I had a crush on you, and then I had to move in with you, and now I kind of dig you, really, for reals, for realsies. And she gets all uncomfortable, and she says, "Well, I'm moving in with Eddie," and then things are like, whoops.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Yeah, a little awkward. Now, Iris does get kind of put in a weird position here by Barry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And speaking of positions, her sitting on Eddie's lap when
Yeah.
that was like, seriously, are we going to be that blatant about it? Like, come on.
Yeah.
I know.
That was a little unsubtle.
I know. I know.
And then Barry has to go like, well, I guess I'm okay with you guys moving in.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Iris doesn't say anything after. He
Yeah, Iris just is
tried
like
to-
trying to
at least she cried a tear.
Yeah, and I felt like it was like, well, I guess I don't care. I'm doing this right in front of you after you've just spilled your guts
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a little sensitivity goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me,
I know- yeah,
me.
I know you've just bared your soul to me, but
Pop.
we're moving in together.
Yep.
Don't.
Isn't this a good thing?
And then like, I'm crushing your heart. I'm crushing your heart. Yeah, flat
Yeah.
tongues.
He's not. He's not.
I love it a couple episodes later when Joe won't give Eddie his blessing.
Yes, that I loved.
Oh, that was
hilarious.
so great.
Yeah.
Because every time you expect, okay, it's just a formality,
Right.
and then and even Eddie is shocked. He's like, "What?"
And you know what's even better than
Say-
that?
What?
When Eddie goes to Barry and says, "Can you tell Joe to let him give me his blessing?" And Barry's like, "No."
No.
In his head, he's like, "No.
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
Right.
You douche. I'm not going to go talk him into anything. That is not happening." Because I think it's, Eddie knows that Barry's in love with her, with Iris, right? Why would he go to? Oh,
Well,
Ast is clueless.
Barry keeps
Desperation
telling
is-
Barry keeps trying to reassure him that he's cool with everything.
I
Yeah.
know.
And
Yeah.
so Eddie, but you would think Eddie would be a little more jealous, a little more hesitant to go to Barry.
Right. Hey, Barry,
Yeah.
Joel wouldn't give me his blessing. Can you go and tell him?
You go campaign for me.
And it's like Barry's rolling his eyes and going, "Wait, what?
I got supervillains to fight. I gotta go. See ya.
That is not happening." Yeah.
I gotta go save the world or something. I'll see you later. I
That
got
is
time, maybe.
ridiculous. Exactly.
Another weird thing, at this point in the series, the first time I saw this, and like with John Wesley Shipp playing his
Henrietta.
spot,
Yeah.
yeah, I still kept on wondering if they were gonna do a storyline where he was actually some form of the Flash prior to this series,
Oh.
like sort of bridging what happened with his previous series.
Wouldn't it be great if we
they
got a
never went there.
multiverse?
Yeah.
Now that we're getting into the multiverse, wouldn't it be awesome if there was another parallel Earth where John Wesley Shipp's Flash could cross over?
Yeah.
Oh,
But-
that would be the
That would be
ultimate.
awesome.
That would be the ultimate.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah. I
very
would love
cool for
that.
sure. But
Right.
You could
even
have-
outside of the multiverse, I still had I didn't know if they were playing with the idea of making him some form of a Flash, because he seemed to have great insights into what Barry was going through as the
Right.
Flash without
Yep.
supposedly
Sure.
knowing he was the Flash, right? So I
Yeah.
always found the way they played those scenes interesting.
So maybe he's secretly
Oh,
One of the Flashes,
one of the other Flashes.
maybe.
no, but that'd
Yeah,
be
but which one would he be? Not Wally.
No.
no. He would be
Not
Barry from a parallel
From a
universe.
parallel universe.
Yeah, so like there's
Perfect.
somewhere there's a Earth 1990s TV Flash
Sure.
that could cross over to the Earth 2014 TV Flash,
Nice.
and then they could have like both.
He could even wear his old suit.
Yeah,
That
Yeah.
would be awesome.
how fantastic! I mean, John Wesley Shipp's still in pretty good shape,
Yeah, he is.
so he could probably rock it, or at least a version of it.
Sure.
And I liked his version of the suit.
Yeah,
I
so
did too.
how great would that be?
Yeah.
That would be amazing. And can you imagine if he ran across Tina?
Tina, yeah, exactly. It's like Tina,
Hey, you look awfully familiar.
but or the Tina from the 1990 TV Earth 1990 is like comes over and meets the Tina McGee of the Earth 2014, and so you have the two Tinas. Like maybe Tina and Barry
Okay.
got hooked up, but
It's
I
not
think that's beyond the
Community.
budget.
I
of
know.
this.
That's
Yeah.
that's just
It's
that's
not
just-
Community. That's Tumeda.
That's just yeah.
And also we have to mention that he.
And then Mark Hamill comes in as a trickster. Yeah, and fights him. With Bellows, Tony Bellows back.
Simpsons did it. We have to also mention that the Tachyon prototype is in Harrison's hands at this point,
In the
and
secret
he attaches it to the suit. And that's when we also see the ring and all that.
Yeah,
other-
and he does the voice, so he
Right.
confirms that basically.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, yep. Merry Christmas, Flash.
Right,
I'm the bad guy. Ha ha ha!
right.
I fooled you all.
Exactamundo. So, gross.
And I'm walking around out of
Yeah.
my wheelchair, so
Yeah. And is that the first time we saw him walking around?
pretty much,
Wow.
pretty
Okay.
much. This is where we go. What? He's walking around and he's got the secret. Oh my God! He's the
He's the Reverse Flash.
What? Yeah, mind blown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was not only the man in the yellow suit, but like I said, kind of the turning point in the series.
This is where
that-
it's that next level.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is Barry's boogeyman come to life.
Yep. And it's when he meets his nemesis in more ways than one. His opposite, his mirror, his Joker.
The
as it were.
reverse.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I also wanted to mention it was written by Todd Helbing, and Aaron Helbing. Are they brothers? Do you know?
I think so.
I think so too. And they both worked on Smallville and Carnival.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Could be Mary.
directed. Huh?
No, I guess that was too soon. That just happened, didn't
Married?
it? Yeah.
They could be. It's been legal in Vermont for quite some time.
That's true.
Oh,
Could
is
be.
it? Okay.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Oh, Carnival? Oh, I love that show.
Me too. I miss it.
Mhm.
And it was directed by Ralph Hemmecker,
Mm-hmm.
who has worked on Once Upon a Time, Blue Bloods, and Numbers. Just so you know. And let's give our grades for this episode. Let's start with you, Lou.
I give this one 9 heart-to-heart talks because I think
Very
there was
nice.
that many in the episode.
Yeah.
But they were
at
good.
least-
They were
They
good.
were all good.
well, the two in particular between Joe and Barry and Barry's real dad and Barry were really, really good.
Yes.
Yep.
Those, I love those scenes. I always love
Well, there's some
Barry.
scenes.
Yeah, those. I mean, either one. I mean, Henry and Barry or Joe and Barry. They're always
I
great
agree.
scenes.
I agree.
Yep.
And what about you, Charles?
I give this one 9 out of 10 tachyon devices.
Very nice.
So
Nice.
And I give it 9.5 elementary school field trips.
Oh,
I think that's thumbs up across the board on this
Yeah,
one.
yeah, this was a great episode.
yeah,
One of my
watershed.
favorites, I think. of
Yeah,
the
mine
three.
too.
Yeah, watershed.
Just because it
episode.
was just so
Huge.
so
And-
huge.
and little.
And
Yeah.
little, and little at
Yeah.
the same time. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very.
There's a nice dichotomy going there.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's amazing how much they cram into these episodes.
I know.
It's so many big things and so many little things, and you're like, wow.
And also looking back, it's multifaceted.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
You know, you find more looking back on it, and that's what makes that episode so great for me.
And maybe this is why Arrow falls up short
Yes.
lately, because there isn't as much plot.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of drag things out a little bit.
Yeah. And it's more of a monster of the week now, I think.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah, it's less
Or
of an
Thread of the
arc.
week. Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I know what you mean.
There was that arc with the Ra's al Ghul thing, but I didn't really think of that as a huge deal. It was really very flat.
Mhm.
That's when I started to lose interest because his resurrection was just like, oh, he's back. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. Oh,
It's like what?
Well,
Whoa, wait
well,
a
they
minute.
did take 3 episodes of showing everybody else,
right.
but it's when he came back though.
Yeah, it
It's
was
just
like,
like, oh, you're back. Okay, and you didn't call, you didn't write.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we're so mad at you.
Yeah, you've kind of like the Starling City's gone to hell while you're gone, and
We hate you.
yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really anticlimactic.
Hmm.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. As much as I like Arrow, and I do like Arrow, this last season has just been like,
Now,
It lost me.
Now I'm hoping with season 4, if the way they're hinting with Oliver's new costume, that they might actually just call him Green Arrow, and like
The
maybe
dude should be in jail.
maybe it's
Like,
gonna be a little lighter.
he should be.
Yeah, he should be. Well,
he should be in jail, so it
Most-
doesn't matter
but-
what they do. I'm gone from there.
most of these guys should be in jail, but yeah.
Well, not Barry. Barry's an old time
Well,
hero.
Barry
far.
like erased all of Captain Cold's background.
Oh yeah, but he didn't literally kill him.
No,
Just figuratively.
no.
Well, that's true.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oliver's a multiple murder. Can't work around that.
all I have to say is that stupid green screen car thing at the end of this last season.
I'm glad I didn't see it.
No,
Karen,
Oliver-
this drives Karen nuts.
Okay.
Oliver and
Season
Felicity drive off into the sunset.
Not
With-
off a cliff. No.
with a horrible green screen in the background, like, "Oh, we're going on vacation together" at the end of the last episode.
Like
and
it's a
I'm
music
like,
video. Like, yeah, like
"It's the worst.
we're driving around in the convertible.
We're going on vacation. We're not going to be the Green Arrow anymore.
We're
Oh,
so
yay!"
we're so happy together.
Oh my
La
god.
la 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 la.
And I felt like throwing all my shoes at the screen. Really, I felt like going in the
That's
closet.
a lot of shoes.
Yes, getting all of my shoes,
That's a lot of
my
throwing.
Chuck Taylors, everything, just throwing them all at the screen.
The stilettos.
It was a lot of shoes. Okay, so now
Birds-
with that segue,
Birds of Prey.
There's this bizarre segue that's happening right now.
let's go on to Birds of Prey. The 5th episode of the first season, Sins of the Mother. And a very apt title
Mm-hmm.
because we're dealing with sins
No, it's Sins of the Mother.
of the mother.
The mother.
And also some sins of the father, as it were. This episode was written by Melissa Rosenberg, and she is
Of the Twilight films.
yes, I know. I have decided to ignore that, and I'm going to talk about the fact that she is also going to be writing for the upcoming Jessica Jones series.
Let's hope she's gotten better.
She wrote for Dexter and Dark Skies. So,
Let's hope.
and also Hans Tobiasen,
Mm-hmm.
which I didn't get anything on. Do you have any of his credits?
No, but I could look it up on IMDb.
Okay, do that while I talk.
Yeah,
about others.
okay, go ahead and kill time. I'll look it up.
Okay, it's directed by Jeff Woolnow, and he directed things like Vikings, Bones, and the year 2000 iteration of The Outer Limits.
That's a good
So Birds
resume.
of Prey. Let's see. Let me go to my Birds of Prey page, shall we?
That's Shao.
Shall.
Okay. So, in this episode, Dinah's real mother comes back. Okay. Here's where things start to bother me. Well, I enjoyed this episode.
That was quick.
Well, Dinah already. She's the Black Canary, right?
Well, this show's version of Black Canary.
Right. And she really is the Black Canary. She does the Black Canary cry.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well-
what?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Dinah.
No, the mom,
Yeah, the mom. Yeah, Carolyn Lance.
Carolyn.
Not
does the
Dinah,
Black-
but yeah,
Okay. Dinah's mother shows up.
right.
Dinah's real mother shows up. And she's supposedly the real Black Canary.
Mm-hmm.
She does the Black Canary cry. And they're in awe of her. And Dinah is upset that her mother was a superhero and just kind of dropped her off at these people's house. And there's this tension between them, of course, because, go ahead.
Well, it just doesn't Dinah kind of imply that the Redmonds were kind of abusive toward her?
Yes. She was
So it's like
Harry
you-
Potter.
Like, you dumped me off on these assholes when I was
That
6.
locked me in a closet because
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
I had
So-
these powers.
So thanks, Mom.
Right.
Wonder
And-
if,
I never
Okay.
read any of Harry Potter books, any of the
Yeah.
Harry
Yeah, she kept her in a cupboard under the stairs.
yeah.
Right. But isn't that kind of the deal with Harry Potter that they
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they treated him like crap. They were abusive and
I
uncle.
wonder if she
They
watched
made him.
the
They
series.
turned him into their slave.
Yeah, it's very Harry Potter, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of.
She must have watched the show.
Yeah.
Well, that's
I'm-
just another thing she nicked from. Oh, I went there.
You did.
Yeah. Twilight.
Yeah, Doctor Who.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
Okay, so
I have a background on Hans Tobiasen if you're interested.
okay.
Apparently, he's written an episode of Wise Guy, which I love that show.
Oh, cool.
Sequest. He's written a couple of Sequest 2032s.
Okay.
Oh,
He wrote for The Visitor.
Okay.
well,
That's
oh,
cool.
cool.
Now and Again.
Okay.
He wrote a Star Trek Enterprise, which I did not realize.
Awesome.
He wrote for Saving Grace, the V, revamped V, the modern V.
The one with Morena Baccarin.
And yeah,
Mhm.
that one. Damages. He wrote for Damages, and Cult.
Okay.
So he's got a little bit of background.
The Rock Nias O'Bannon cult.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's it. So
Awesome.
that's Hans.
Cool. So he's got a little cachet going.
A little bit.
All right. So Birds of Prey. Okay. So she comes back, and Dinah's got a little bit against her mom for all this, and she says, "Well, why'd you drop me off?" Of course, Carolyn says, "Well, you weren't showing any signs of being different, so I thought you'd be fine with these people because." I'm guessing it was, I thought you'd be safer with a normal family because, I was a superhero and I thought you'd be, it's the whole trite, I'm a superhero. I have to protect the people I love sort of thing.
Right. I'm just trying to keep you safe.
Right.
And well, in the whole business with
And
the
that
C4.
never works.
Well, with the whole business with the C4
Right.
explanation.
There was an explosive under your bed, and if I hadn't come home, you would be dead. But still, it never works out right.
Yeah.
That whole thing. Do superheroes not learn from each other that never works out right? That it would be better if you just stayed and protect your loved ones. I mean,
yeah.
So trite. But anyway, and of course, Carolyn, we need to talk about this. It's played by Lori Loughlin. From Full House, 90210. Oh, Va Va Voom, is that the deal?
Well, she's Becky from Full House.
I know, right?
And she's going to be Becky from Full House again.
Yep.
Fuller House.
Fuller House, yes.
That's right.
But I mean, it just compared to Full House, though, you wouldn't expect. She actually does a really good job here, I think.
Oh, she does. Yes.
As the Black Canary.
I agree.
And I think she's a much better Black Canary than the Black Canary we got.
I agree.
And in form of Dinah.
Right. I agree completely.
So I was really happy to see a proper Black Canary.
Yes.
With a big cry even. So yeah, that was how great was that?
And hers is apparently inherent.
Yeah.
Like it's not a box that she wears.
No.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of how it is in the comics.
It's not from Arrow, though. I mean, Arrow.
It's a device. Yeah, that Cisco made.
Right. Or Cisco enhanced, or whatever.
Well,
whatever it is, I don't know.
After asking her for an autograph.
Right. Cisco's got such a thing for her. So. Yeah, so Lori Loughlin is awesome, I think, and she does a really great job with this. I think the writing is a little, and I'm going to use this again because it really expresses how I feel about it. Trite at the end.
Twilight movies, all I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. At the end, when Dinah dies, and I think honestly that if the show had continued, she would have returned. Yep. Because they left it kind of up in the air.
You didn't see a body. And
right.
Standard comic book rules, if you don't see a body, and even then sometimes
they're not dead.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. So when she's about to die, it's like, I'm so proud of you. And that is just like, please.
Yeah, they had that was the modus operandi of the show, though. They always had to have that last scene up on the watchtower, right?
Right.
But, rooftop scenes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and this show to me is a lot like The Flash in the writing style. I mean, this one's a little more overt with the comic stuff, but generally the episodes, outside of those comic-y elements, the writing is actually pretty sharp. I don't really have any complaints about that.
It's okay.
And
I think The Flash is better.
I think The Flash.
Yeah, I think it is too. But I think for like the show is, I don't know how much you've talked about the show.
10 years more.
Sophistication.
I think it's sophisticated. Yeah.
Like the show's 10 years too early. Like I think if it would have played today,
I would agree.
Probably would have done a lot better.
I agree, and I think that's why we picked this to talk about. Over the summer.
It's got a great cast.
Because I think if this would have had a chance to age a bit, it would have been a better show.
And depicting better female superheroes.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. But I like the cast quite a bit. Like they hit the ground running. There's no awkwardness, I don't find, with this cast at all.
I agree. I think the cast was great. I just think this aired in a time when it was like Smallville and other shows like this, and it was fitting in that mold.
Yeah.
And so that's the level of sophistication we got. The
Mhm.
writing was good, but it was
They hadn't really figured out how to depict superheroes on
superhero
television
shows. Right.
the way
Yeah.
that they are now.
Right.
Yeah,
They
it's
could have
kind of
made it
got a
much darker.
yeah, it's kind of got a retro charm now because it's in that age when CGI still had that plasticky,
Yes.
Mhm.
sheeny look to it.
Yeah.
But I think they, whether it was intentional or maybe just because it's how it's aged, but I actually like the look of the show quite a bit. I like the
Yeah.
swooping shots around the
Right.
cityscape,
Agreed.
the
Mhm.
watchtower. It looks really cool. The way they shot things was even like Huntress running across the building tops. It looks really fake, but it almost looks like a comic book
Well,
kind of panel come to life. It's
yeah, I
really
like her
cool to
running
watch,
across
though.
the
Yeah.
across. We mentioned that we kind of like her running across
Yeah.
the top of the buildings.
Yeah, if they had more modern production values,
Yes. Yeah.
I think
Do
we
you think, Lou,
Mhm.
since you and I talked about Farscape, do you think they maybe took some of the Huntress's clothing choices from Aaron?
Uh, I think it's more again a limitation of the technology for superhero stuff for suits.
Yeah.
I don't think they wanted to get into that whole thing. I mean, the really quick shots that you do see of Batman and that you can see like the suit just doesn't really. It would never work on a like if it was a long shot or a shot of him just sort of like walking around doing dialogue. 'Cause
Yeah,
they're
but
all
they
quick,
gave
all
her
quick
that
hard cuts and that, right?
long coat like Aaron, the Huntress.
But that's supposed to be more like Batman, though. That's to give
Yeah.
the Batman cape vibe.
I
I
know,
thought.
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
think she looks awesome, and she really does kind of remind me of Aaron.
Oh,
I don't know
definitely.
why. She
In
just kind
attitude and
of
that,
does.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. She has an interesting look around her. And
Mhm.
like Dinah Meyer, who I could never understand what never became a bigger name. I
Yeah,
think
Yeah,
she's a fantastic actress and she does a great job in this.
and she's a
I agree.
perfect Oracle
Yeah,
Yeah,
series.
yeah. Like
yeah,
you
I
buy
agree.
her as being smart,
Right.
I would love to see her show up on one of the new shows as Oracle, as
Yes.
Barbara.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I
Like-
think she'd be great.
Yeah.
Or just as someone, it doesn't matter. We know what she looks like because she's been on Castle just
Mhm.
recently, not too long ago,
Yeah.
as a dominatrix. So I
Hey-
mean, we really do know what she looks like.
Hey now.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's really hot still.
Mhm.
Anyway, I'm
Sorry.
mesmerized. Yeah.
Squirrel.
She's really, really good looking still. So Lori Loughlin's in this as Dinah's mother, Caroline. Carolyn, I've seen it.
It's
I know,
Oh.
but in several different places it's Caroline, and in a couple different places it's Carolyn. So is it
yeah,
Carolyn with a Y?
It's Carolyn with a Y. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Some sites might have a typo, but
Okay.
yeah, it's Carolyn with a Y.
So it's Carolyn Lance,
Mm-hmm.
and her daughter is Dinah. What is it, Robinson or
Redmond.
Redmond? Thank you.
Yeah.
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 Because she lived with the Redmonds, who kept her under the stairs until she could get her wand and go to the academy on platform number 9.
Well, she is training to be a superhero.
I know.
Yeah.
In a watchtower that is hidden from view.
Oracle School of Witchcraft and superheroes and yeah.
That's right. And is there a sparkly vampire anywhere nearby? So, can you tell I'm being sarcastic?
Just a bit.
Just a wee bit. Yeah.
Just a wee bit.
Tad.
So the woman that wrote this is one of the Twilight authors, just so you know, of the movies.
The movies, yeah.
Lou. We didn't
Okay.
mention that because I don't acknowledge
I
that
mentioned
she
it.
had anything to do with the movie. Okay, so she's the mother. She comes back. There's some tension. She wants to get to know her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And she is there's also this other storyline where the Hawk family,
Right.
the son Al Hawk,
Played
is
by Stephen McHattie.
that's right. And what was he in?
Oh, so many things. He's
Yes,
the guy
a
that you
lot.
got.
But
when-
he was Hollis Mason in Watchmen.
That's
The
right.
Golden Age Night Owl.
That's right.
And he
But
was
he was
did a good job
also
in that. Really good job in that. I
He
like
was
that.
also in Haven. That's another connection.
He's the
X-Files.
go-to baddie
Yeah, he's
kind
got
of guy
he's
from the
like a
90s.
really like intense face. Like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
If
you're
you
like
couldn't get Lance Henriksen, you got Stephen.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's
He
the
looks a
backup
lot like.
Lance Henriksen.
That's
Yeah.
right.
He probably could have been his body double.
Yeah, he
if
was in like
really just-
X-Files and some other things.
Yeah, he's been in a zillion. He's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
prolific.
Right.
Yeah.
He's one of those
Like,
character actors that
yeah. As
that
soon
guy
as you
like
see
oh,
him, you
that
know.
guy's in this.
Yeah.
Right. I completely remember him from Watchmen. Whenever I see him, I think of Watchmen.
Yep.
But that could just be because I've seen Watchmen about a zillion times.
Yeah. I really enjoy that movie.
Me too. I love comics. I am so not a purist when it comes to comics. If it is good,
Right.
I like it. It doesn't have to be exact.
Right. I actually like the ending to the movie better than the ending to the graphic
the
novel.
comic.
And I know that's blasphemy to a lot of people,
No.
but
You don't like the weirdo
I don't need the
LSD trip?
I don't need the giant squid.
No,
Yeah.
me either.
I think the movies like the whole like that whole thing with the Dr. Manhattan bomb, I think that works much better than the
Yeah.
giant squid.
The more realistic
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's less campy, it's less
Yeah.
like just
Yeah.
I think the book is an LSD trip waiting to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is kind of par for the course for him. But
hmm
I think the movie was great.
Yeah.
I was skeptical at first, but when I went to see it, I thought
Yeah.
it was really
I
good.
think it's great.
I really like the first 20 minutes of it, and I agree with you. I think the ending is good. It loses me a bit in the middle because I think the kind of overpowered the characters. I mean, the whole thing with the story was that they were just regular people, right? And then in this,
Yeah.
the
Well,
movie version, they made them seem like they had superpowers, and I'm kind of going, well, that's not really what that story was about. So,
Yeah,
but
well, they had to do something.
Right.
It's a
yeah,
movie.
I would have preferred
to
if
make
they
it
would have played it more
action-packed.
like Christopher Nolan Batman style.
But it is one of the more faithful comic book adaptations
Yep.
you'll
Yeah.
find because it really does bring a lot from the source material.
Yeah.
I mean, even to certain panels, the way that certain scenes are shot,
Yeah, they
It's-
look the
Yeah.
same.
very faithful.
Yeah.
Blue
With the
blue-
graffiti on the wall.
And I love
blue
the
balls.
Yeah.
and I love the
Not just blue balls.
yeah, and I love the times are changing montage.
Yeah.
That
yeah,
is just
too.
such a brilliant sequence.
Amazing. Yeah.
Love that.
I do too.
All
The
right.
the quick not quick cuts, slow cuts.
I keep
Okay.
waiting for Blaine to come in.
No, I'm good. Okay, so
And
Al Hawk, we're not getting too far off.
okay.
Al Hawk comes in and he's got a grudge against Carolyn Lance, who put his family in
Yeah.
prison, and he wants to take her out.
Revenge.
Come
Revenge.
on,
Yeah, exactly.
you vex me.
You bloodsucker.
That's right. So he is looking for her while she is trying to get to know her daughter. And you might have to help me through some of this because I'm
Okay. All right.
floundering a bit now that we've talked about Flash.
Okay. You want?
Hold on.
Are you getting lost?
Give me a second.
Reboot.
So Dinah
Yeah.
tries to get a job. Is that-
No.
No.
Nope. Try again.
Okay, hold on a minute.
Eh.
No, she just needs some time.
Yeah,
alone.
she's just basically Dinah's freaking out over her mom.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
And so
Dinah
she
goes
gets-
to
so
the
she-
bar.
Yeah, she sneaks
Good
out
tale.
while Huntress and Dinah are arguing because it's a bird cat thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, they get in that fight where Dinah doesn't want to talk to Huntress because
Carolyn doesn't want to talk.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You know, I keep thinking Dinah
I
because
know. There's Black Canary. Yeah. Just
Right.
just call her Black Canary.
Okay, so Black Canary doesn't want to really talk to Huntress because she has a grudge against Catwoman.
Right. Huntress's mom.
Right.
Yeah.
Who is Huntress's mom. And Oracle explains it as a bird cat
Cat
thing,
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
which is dumb, but still, yeah, I get
It's,
it.
it's convenient.
Yeah,
Nice shorthand.
right. It's shorthand for she doesn't like Catwoman.
Right.
Which
Who I
means,
assume in this universe must be a metahuman too, or how
Yeah,
else
she
could
is.
Huntress be
She is. That's why Huntress has
half and
metahuman
half?
powers. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
She's half metahuman. Yeah.
right, because Batman isn't.
Right.
So I'm guessing that they're saying a few things here. That they're saying that Black Canary is on the side of good, and that Catwoman was not good, at least as far
Right,
as
right.
Black Canary knew.
Right.
That she might have been that gray character.
Yep.
Very nice.
Yep. The DVD.
That she might have been that gray Catwoman, but really was bad at the end. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
At least.
Well, she always straddled that line.
Yeah. Yeah.
And only really Batman saw the good in her.
Right.
Because
That
he was
she
hot
was
for
good
her,
at
but,
least.
Yeah.
She was good at least when Batman
Mm-hmm.
made Huntress.
Yes.
Because Batman wouldn't have been with her otherwise, right?
Hey now.
Mm.
Because Batman, I mean, he had a weakness, but he loved her
Right.
for the time that he was with her.
Batman's obviously got a thing for bad girls because he was into Talia too.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Talia al Ghul.
Yeah, he's got kind of a weakness.
Yeah, and that made Daniel.
Damien.
Right? Oh, Damien. Damien.
Yeah.
Oh, 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 oh.
Damian Wayne.
Wrong Damien.
Yeah. Yeah. Not Damian Thorne. That's kind of a big distinction. Antichrist versus
Batman's son.
Robin. Batman's son, Robin. Yeah.
Really? Is that a big difference?
Just a
okay. So Robin didn't push his mother off of the stairwell? Or is that what you're saying?
No, he didn't sick a pack of hellhounds against, like a baby or something.
Oh, all right.
And yeah.
Darn it.
Not that he didn't want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so she goes to the bar.
Right.
And
no man's land.
she visits with Kafka again.
Yeah, Gibson.
Who returns for this episode, and that's Rob Benedict. And we mentioned that he comes back for a few episodes, and I really dig that character.
He's a recurring character, yeah.
Yeah. I like him. He commiserates with her, but he also kind of.
He's supposed to be the bartender guy that you go to for advice.
Yeah, but he calls Oracle, and he
Yeah.
says, "She's here."
Yeah, he kind of gives up Dinah.
Yeah.
He gets on the Oracle
So-
line and you're like type. She's here.
Bleep 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 bleep. And to her credit,
Mhm.
Hunter says, "I'll go get her," and Barbara says, "No, just leave it for now." They know where she is.
She's
so-
safe.
Right. At least Barbara realizes, maybe she needs some space.
Right.
So that's good. And in the meantime, Carolyn,
Meanwhile,
on the other side of town,
right.
meanwhile at headquarters.
Meanwhile at the Hall of Justice. Yeah. Sorry. It just slips.
Wasn't that Ted? That was Ted Knight, right?
Ted Knight, yeah. The brilliant late
The
Ted Knight.
brilliant Ted Knight.
Loved him.
You buy that hat, you get a bowl of soup. It's good on you, though.
Well, that was Rodney, but yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
Talking to Ted Knight.
Well, we're waiting.
I gotta watch that movie.
Caddyshack is just the greatest.
I know. I love that movie so much.
Okay.
Now this I get to play.
What is this bizarre segue?
Yes, we
Okay.
know it. Shut up, you.
That was me. I love Ted Knight so much in that movie. Danny,
Yeah, very underrated performance in that movie. He's so good.
want a fresca?
I love that.
Okay, so let's get back to Birds of Prey.
Yeah, we're waiting.
Okay, so she gets taken by Al Hawk
Mm-hmm.
and tied up on a
Ain't it-
railroad track. No, I mean
Hey now.
in a warehouse.
Yeah.
And he's monologuing
Yeah,
and
she's-
explaining why.
Yeah, she's got the whole canary cry muffler on.
She's got like a
Yeah,
deadlock
right.
thing on. Have you seen that movie? That's a great movie.
No, I haven't seen that movie.
Oh my God, you have to see that movie. Look it up right now. Deadlock.
Okay,
Look it up right now.
I'm doing a podcast here.
Rutger Hauer.
Okay.
It's a Rutger Hauer movie. It's really good.
Okay.
He is in jail, and you're linked to a partner through this neck brace thing, and
Okay.
it's got a bomb on it, and you can't get too far away from the other person, or a bomb goes off.
It's got a proximity sensor. Yeah.
Right.
Got
Right.
it.
So you have to kind of stick, and that's your
Got
jail.
it. Got it.
So, but it's really good.
Okay.
His heads keep blowing up. It's awesome. Deadlock.
They just pop like daisies.
Yep. It's a really good movie.
Don't eat the daisies.
I'm surprised you don't know it. Look, it's such a guy movie. My husband and I watch it, and we just love it. We eat popcorn like it's going.
Hey, I just finally saw John Wick, which is Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's just him mowing 70 Russian guys one at a time. Just
have you seen Platoon yet?
No, I have not seen Platoon yet.
Platoon? Oliver Stone?
Yeah.
He and Jesse hadn't seen it.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
I told you have to see it.
I've got.
Anyway.
I
You
got
have
a
to see
lot
the
of my.
Equalizer too.
I got a lot on my docket.
Yeah. See.
Denzel Washington Equalizer.
I made a reference to Platoon because he's in Daredevil.
Right.
Yep.
And I made a reference because he looks very much like, Fisk from Daredevil.
She's
in
mad at me
Platoon.
because I didn't get a reference.
Right. but if you haven't seen, I mean, it's pretty much the only.
I have transgressed. I am sorry.
One of the only Kubrick movies that I really
need
like.
absolution.
You really should watch it. Anyway. Again,
Platoon
with
is
the
not a Kubrick
digression.
movie.
Huh?
Which movie is Kubrick?
Platoon?
No, that's Oliver Stone.
Okay, it's the other one then, right?
You're thinking Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket. Sorry, have you seen Full Metal Jacket?
I have not seen that either.
Okay, that's the one I'm talking
I'm not that big on war movies.
Okay.
I mean,
you have to watch Full Metal Jacket.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Full Metal Jacket is the one I'm talking
Because
about.
Vince D'Onofrio's in that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
He's
about.
He's the training
Fisk.
sergeant. Yeah, he's good.
That's the Daredevil connection.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so anyway, that's what I'm
the
talking
birds.
Okay, so anyway, she gets taken by Al Hawk. God damn it, we're just all over the place.
This is why we run long.
Oh man. So
yeah, she gets
taken by Al Hawk. Al Hawk monologues and tells her, "Oh well, you did all this to my family, blah 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 blah." So much talking.
Yes. Like the Charlie Brown teacher.
Yes. Yeah. So how does she find out that her mother was taken?
Well,
Dinah tells her.
That's a good. No, because Dinah comes back to the watchtower.
Right.
After getting her
spilling her
gut.
Yeah,
she's like, well, we haven't found, or Dinah or Carolyn hasn't checked in yet.
Okay. Yeah.
And so we think she's missing.
Okay. And so they're just intuiting that she's.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do they find her? Because that was something I was unclear.
Well, they go looking for Hawk.
Okay.
Because they nabbed her.
Okay.
Well, the police detective gives her an address because dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but we don't find out that till the end.
Right, but that's how they find out
where
she is.
Huntress goes to the New Gotham police station to see Reese and say, "Hey, I need to find Al Hawk. Where is he holding up?"
Right. And he knows.
He writes on a piece of paper and gives it to her.
Right.
Yep.
And we don't know how he knows.
No, but he is, but not. Well, we find out something at the end of the episode.
Right.
Yes.
But I'm guessing we just figure at this point that he knows some underground stuff.
Right. Because
he
knows cop stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
He's one of my.
Seems like he has a history with him.
Right.
Yes. But we think it's a police history.
Right.
Right.
So he gives her this. They go, and of course, she's there, and they're trying to. She's all tied up. Way tied up. 50 Shades of Grey.
Hey now.
And
hey now.
50 Shades of Hawk.
Yep.
That whole thing seemed very James Bondian to me. But
It did, of course, with the monologuing. I mean, he could have just
Yeah.
killed her, right?
all those ropes and that.
Do you
Yeah.
Whatever.
do you expect me to talk,
Or do
Al Hawk? No, Miss Lance. I expect you to cry.
Oh,
See what I did there?
Yes, I did. I wish I hadn't, but I did.
Well, you know, hey.
Hey,
This is what you get for free.
yeah.
you get what you pay for.
Exactly.
Okay, so they go to the warehouse and they find her. And who goes? It's Dinah
It's Dinah and Huntress. They go
and
together.
Huntress.
And then Reese shows up.
Right. Reese shows up a little later, though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He's not there right away, but he
Everybody but Alfred shows up.
And Oracle.
And Oracle. Yeah, Oracle's still,
Oracle's
Yeah.
not there either, right?
She,
yeah.
No.
she's quarterbacking back at the
At the
at
watchtower.
Watchtower. Yeah.
Right. So they go in, and of course, Dinah's the only one that gets close to her. Huntress and Reese are off trying to do things, trying to
Stuff.
save things off from the fringes of the warehouse.
The henchmen.
I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they are taking down henchmen, right?
Right.
Yep.
So Dinah gets close, which is the dumbest thing. She should be off trying to save get the henchmen out of the way.
Yeah.
Not put herself in peril with the bad guy.
But it is her mom, so maybe she's just like, that's
She
where I'm
runs
focused.
towards the mother.
That's where I'm focused. Yeah. I
She's
can,
still a rookie.
I can understand. Yeah, exactly. She's a rookie, so
Yeah. But of course, Al takes her hostage and says, not only am I going to kill you, but I'm going to kill your daughter right in front of you. Ha 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 ha.
Ooh, ha 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 ha.
Right. Here's my hands being
Yep.
rubbed together.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Al's doing that while the ropes are getting tightened, and she's getting strangled.
Tune in next week to find out if Black Canary survives.
He didn't get out of the cock-a-doodie car. Thank you.
Mr. Man.
Yeah, exactly. So while she's being strangled, she does this telekinesis thing and gets the throat thing off of her mom, and her mom uses the canary cry
Right.
to stop all the other stuff from happening. Because the canary cry
just unloads with that canary cry.
is all seeing and it does everything.
It takes out everything.
Right.
Well, it gets her out of the ropes.
No, it doesn't get her out of the rope.
No, it gets her out of the ropes.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It gets her out of the ropes too. She's just like, hey, I'm free.
Starts fires, blows up barrels.
Yep.
Okay, so it gets her
slices,
out of the
it dices.
it stops the guy from holding her daughter. It stops the wheels from turning. It does everything. But there's shooting happening, and barrels get shot up, and
Dogs and cats living together, mass
hysteria. And this is where my nitpickiness comes in. Is bullets don't set things on fire.
Canary cries do.
That was the sparks off the bullets hitting the ground.
No, it doesn't happen.
Ricocheting off metal?
No, because the gasoline won't let sparks happen. The liquid in the gasoline stops the spark before it happens.
I thought he shot before the gasoline.
Well, maybe one of the henchmen had a cigarette.
He hit the dry floor. He's a very good shot.
Doesn't matter. It won't happen. It won't happen. And
it's TV.
It doesn't matter. I get that. Okay. And then
comic books just roll with it.
When you run out of a building that blows up, you don't get thrown forward either.
Well, the force of the explosion.
No.
Which way do you go?
You stand there.
Okay.
You stand there. And you feel it. I know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
It's like in Star Trek.
But if it's like Lethal Weapon, you got to jump, go,
Okay.
Things exploding behind you.
It's more badass than that. You would just be walking away from the explosion. It would look more badass.
Right. I agree.
Okay. So
Iron Man.
I would think in real life,
Yeah.
if it happened like real life, it would look better. That you'd want it to look like that. That you just want them to be walking away like, yeah, there's an explosion behind me. That's right. And then, it might be singeing my hair, but who cares?
And
I'm
people
walking
say,
away.
well, they weren't that close, were they?
Yeah, they weren't that close. But the explosion bugs me. The spark thing bugs me. Because it's just, it can't happen. But anyway, I'll let it slide. But I'm watching it, and that's the thing,
Good.
I'm
Let the hate flow. Good.
I'm so, I know. I'm so nitpicky. I'm like, that would never happen. It would catch a fire. So no one would die in real life.
Nope.
No one would die.
Nope.
Because no fire would happen. They'd have to light it on fire for reals, for realsies.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, I'll let it go. Maybe one of the henchmen lit it on fire.
Yep.
I'll just assume that's what happened.
Cigarette,
lighter,
Yep.
match.
It
whatever.
blew it real good. Woo!
It blew it up real good.
Woo!
And this is when we assume that Carolyn dies.
Mm-hmm.
And the henchmen die and all that stuff. And we know that Al Hawk does not die.
No, but he gets
He
a little
ends up-
he gets a little crispy.
A little crispy. He ends up in the hospital. But of course we end up before then on the watchtower, and Dinah's very sad.
Dinah's sad.
Yeah, she has that reconciliation with her mother. It doesn't really end up with a full reconciliation.
Well, it's just like, I haven't seen you since I was 6.
Right.
So how emotionally invested could she be?
Right. She's not really. And her mother says, I'm proud of you. And
But she was crying.
sure. Well, of course she is.
Yeah.
It's her mother.
Right.
But there can't be the breadth of feeling there. It can't be a huge,
Mm-hmm. Like,
she's not totally invested.
We only had like an afternoon reunion, and then,
Right.
and then you got blowed up real good.
Right. Plus, you dropped me off with these people who abused me.
Yeah.
So
I'm still kind of pissed at you about that.
yeah, she's not going to have resolved feelings. And this also sets in motion a little storyline with the huntress, talking with a little thing in her head about her mother as well, which doesn't really do much. It's just a
glimmer of character development.
Correct. A little bug in her ear, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have a little scene on the watchtower, and then comes the real story.
Well,
really?
Well, before that, I do want to mention one thing.
Okay.
Because
the ring.
Well, no, because Dinah's all upset. Okay. And then she goes to her, to Huntress and Oracle, and she's like, I'm so glad I'm not alone. And then hugsies.
Yeah.
That was just a little.
Did you have to bring that up? Do you have to?
Yeah, I did. Because
it
was so horrible.
Feeling okay about her.
It's so horrible.
And then all of a sudden you bring up something that makes me hate her again.
Hey.
Yeah. Group hug.
Yeah.
Girl power. Girl
They
power.
always had the group hug at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah.
But then
at least she didn't have a lot. Okay, so before that, Lou's right. There was the scene between Reese and Huntress with the ring.
Right.
Where she gives him the ring. Oh, are we going steady now? Which I thought was cute.
You gave me Jimmy Olsen's signal watch.
That's right. Where she says, just squeeze it and I'll know you need me.
It's
just
the reverse of the alien scene when Reese gives Ripley the tracker band.
There you go.
Nice.
That's right.
Nice.
And she almost does that Mae West thing. Just put your lips together and blow. And you know how to whistle, don't you?
Yeah.
So there's that where she and Reese are getting closer together, and I really would have liked to see their relationship develop more. I think if it had been more than 13 episodes, we would have seen much more with them. But then, of course, what?
No, I was just saying I wish we would have got at least a full season.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
22 episodes would have been nice.
Right. Right.
Of course, the big reveal, and this is really the main thrust of this episode, I think, and not discounting the storyline of the episode, but the big thing that I took from this episode
Mm-hmm.
was that Reese is the son of Al Hawk.
Right.
Yep.
And
Yep.
nobody, hands up who actually saw that coming, because I did
Nope.
not see that coming.
Nope. Not at all.
They didn't really foreshadow
And
it.
it didn't have
Hint.
anything to do with the color of the
No.
man.
It's just completely it's just completely out of the blue. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, this bad guy is your dad.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Call your mom.
right. It's explained kind of that, that's why he went into law enforcement, because he didn't want to be like the rest of his family.
Right.
The God.
He wanted to separate him. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
He tries to be Michael, but
Yes.
Yeah.
Keep on pulling me
They
back
keep
in.
pulling me back
Back in.
in. That's right.
they keep pulling me back in.
He's got to take the calzone. No, not calzone.
Cannoli.
Cannoli. Calzone.
Leave the gun. Take the
Take the
cannoli.
cannoli. Yeah. I was watching Parks and Rec this
Yeah.
one. That's all I can say.
Oh, okay.
With the calzone, they talk about calzone all the time.
I like calzones.
They're pointless. That's what they say on Parks and Rec.
Pointless.
Yeah,
But they
they're
taste
just
good.
pizza.
They taste good.
Yeah, I know.
So yes.
So that's the
Reese.
thing.
Reese, I am your father.
That's really the important reveal in this episode, is that Reese is Al Hawk's son.
And they don't do anything with it.
No, but I think they would have
Yeah, had they lesson, but
Yeah.
had they gone further with this. I mean, that's a big deal.
yeah. It's
That
like
would have been a huge.
and it's a good character development for Reese, because it's like, hey, okay, now you kind of understand a little bit more where he's coming from. Maybe he sees Huntress as a criminal, so he has a little hard time relating because he's been trying to rebel against that whole criminal background all his life.
Right.
So
And
there's
I
that
think
animosity there.
He didn't know what to see her as. And there was a line earlier in this episode where she says, I think I'm one of the good guys. And I think that was her saying, I'm one of the good guys, but him saying, I didn't know until now you were one of the good guys. Him not being sure. So there, it was definitely saying, I didn't know whether I could trust you or not. And then at the end of the episode, confirming that
Mhm.
he is definitely a white hat. And there's a reason for that, because he's been burned by his family. So it really does add a layer to his character, I think. It makes his character much more interesting.
Yep.
At least even just knowing that, even if they don't develop it, which they don't, but it adds a layer to his character. And also, he's very hot. So
He's on Criminal Minds.
I know.
He wanted to be Cyborg.
I
did he?
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's awesome. I like him. So
He did the voice of Cyborg, so that's
what?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he did. What do we think of Sins of the Mother, guys? Lou?
Lou.
Taking into account that this is a 10-year-old series and the technology wasn't quite there, I think this series actually does a fairly good job. And I like this episode quite a bit, even though it does the Walton endings. But I gave it eight tattooed autographs.
Very nice. Charles?
Like Lou, on the Birds of Prey scale, this is actually a pretty good episode.
Mm-hmm.
I also give this one 8. I give it 8 out of 10 Canary Cry inhibitors.
Yep. And we're all on the same page. Even though there's quite a bit of Dinah, it's not Dinah in high school.
No, I was just glad to see a proper Black Canary.
Right. And it's Dinah with a little depth in this
Yeah.
episode, I thought.
Mhm.
So I'm also going to give it 8. And I give it 8 estranged parents. And there's plenty of estranged parents in this one. So,
Right. Yeah, that's good.
yeah.
I'm curious for you guys. Have you solved the mystery of who actually plays Batman in this series? Because apparently the person that's accredited with it is not the true person that played Batman.
Oh.
Hmm.
Bruce
No.
Thomas who played Batman in a couple of OnStar commercials, was credited, but he said it wasn't him, and I don't know who
I don't
plays
know
the
either.
Batman.
I don't either.
So
Interesting.
I know
I'll
Mark
do
Hamill
some
did the voice
research.
of the Joker, but
Yeah, he didn't
Right.
do the body of the Joker.
no, it
But
was
he
a
does the
stuntman.
voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a mystery. If anybody, if your listeners out there knows who it was,
Drop us a line. Yeah.
drop a line, because I'd like to know.
I'll do some research as well.
It looks like a very
That's a research
much-
goddess mission.
yeah, very much his costume is very much to me a homage to the Adam West version of the Batman
Mhm.
costume.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I remember reading something that they used like the Batman Forever costume or something
Yeah, they did.
Oh, okay.
for this.
Oh,
They did.
okay.
There was actually a scene recycled from Batman Forever in the pilot episode.
Oh, okay.
So there was that.
So would that be Val
I don't
Kilmer?
remember which one it was.
Yes, that would be Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
That was 95.
Yeah.
That movie.
I don't know which
Wow.
scene it was. I just remember.
I don't either. It might be on Wikipedia. I don't know. But
Yeah. I do remember reading it.
And remember, Birds of Prey, metahumans. You heard it here first.
Yeah, this is their first. Yeah, this was their
Metahuman.
first use
Yeah.
of metahuman.
Yeah. So I mean that trickles down to the Flash today,
Yep.
and Agents of Shield as far as that goes.
Well, that's inhuman.
I know that's Marvel,
Yeah.
but yeah. So we're
Because
to
you
the.
can't use mutants anymore.
I know, because that's in the movies.
That's the X-Men.
That's a different.
Fox says X-Men. We can't do that.
That's right. That's a different property.
hmm So we got to
So-
make everybody inhuman.
We are to the point in the episode where Charles has news.
Yeah, but we're like at the 154 mark now.
Okay. So do you have any news?
Really quickly.
Okay.
Really quick news. There's a couple of interesting casting tidbits. Gotham got a really big player added to their season 2
Okay.
in the form of Michael Chiklis.
I saw that.
The Shield's Michael Chiklis and
The
Fantastic
commish.
the Commish and Fantastic Four, but yeah.
The Thing.
So it's clobbering time in Gotham City.
Did they say who he was playing?
Yeah, he's playing a new character called Nathaniel Barnes. This isn't somebody from the DC Comics. This is somebody, I guess, really specially created for the show. He is described, if you give me a minute here. Where is it? Okay. He is described as someone who, quote, lands on the Gotham City Police Department like a tornado. Sharknado. Ripping out the deadwood of Gotham City's police force. He's a law and order zealot, unafraid of making enemies on either side of the law.
Ooh.
For Gordon, Barnes is a hero and mentor, someone with whom he can share the burden of heroism. Captain Barnes proves himself to be a strong ally to Gordon, but one day he will make an equally powerful enemy. Dun dun dun! So
Is that what you wanted?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So there's that,
Okay.
and then Arrow, because apparently Green Arrow does not have enough rogues of his own,
Mhm.
keeps stealing from other corners of the DC universe, and is going to be stealing another Flash rogue in the form of Double Down, and has cast What was that?
An arrow.
Okay.
It's not really. It's an axe.
Okay. I was going to say, that sounded like a guillotine.
It's an axe.
Okay.
That's a paper rip.
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying.
Okay.
I don't have an arrow.
Maybe it was Stephen Amell ripping his pants when he was doing the salmon ladder. Who knows? But yeah. Okay.
Giving a thumbs up to that one.
I thought you would.
Mhm.
Yeah, you and my wife both. But Arrow has cast J.R. Bourne as Double Down. So there's that coming up.
Awesome.
So
But-
maybe there's another rogue coming to Central City.
Again.
Yeah. He's
Go
like
on.
he's a metahuman who can turn his playing card tattoos into deadly weapons, which is a little bit different from the comics,
Yeah.
where he kind of like peeled these cards that were like stuck to his skin and can throw them and like kill people with them.
But
Well, they don't explode. So,
still,
yeah. Yeah. It's a little more gross in the comics.
yeah, but I'm
Because
just saying.
they're part of his skin, so he peels it off, so there's like, muscle tissue
Yeah,
underneath, and it's kind of gross.
gross.
But yeah, so that's
So
what
is
I
that
got.
it?
That's all I got.
Okay.
That's pretty quick.
And I'm keeping my eyes on the press sites
Mm-hmm.
because there have already been some pictures going up for Once Upon a Time and things like that. So now is the time of year when pictures are being posted and
Ooh.
presses
You're
are.
really good at posting those pictures on our Facebook page.
I'm trying.
You do a good
I'm
job.
trying to keep up every morning during the week because
Mm.
they don't usually post anything on the weekends. I get up and I check all the press sites, and I'm not kidding. It's every morning. 8 o'clock. I get up, I make my coffee, and I check the press sites.
Time to check
Good
the press
coffee.
sites.
Yeah, because that's part of my gig is that
Yep. Yep.
I make sure, and especially this time of year, I check, to make sure nothing on Castle has been posted. So, I mean, Parks and Rec, there's not going to be anything anymore, but Castle, and now I do, Once Upon a Time, and I check to make sure there's nothing on Under the Dome, and we know how Lou feels about that.
Yes. Enough said.
It's the best unintentional comedy on TV right now.
I know, right?
Yeah,
I
it's
am
hilarious.
watching it like Mystery Science Theater 3000. That's how I'm
Well,
watching it
that's
right
how they seem to be writing it too. So
Did you see? I tweeted that it's like they're combining every single Stephen King book right
yeah,
now.
yeah,
They
I
got
saw that.
Christine, the Tommy Knockers, Cujo. I mean, they're doing every single Stephen King book. But anyway, so I'm, I'm just checking every property that I'm involved with. I'm checking. So, if any pictures show up, they'll be posted to our Facebook page, and that's a cue for us to tell you
Ooh.
where you can reach us.
And where can they reach us,
Let me
Karen?
let me let you do that because I've been
Okay.
talking all
Okay.
episode.
Okay. Uh, as we hit the 2 hour mark, dun dun dun. They can reach us at Fandom Zonecast on Twitter, and then we have our Fandom Zone uh, Facebook page, which I heartily encourage everyone to check out because, like Karen says, she posts some really awesome pictures. And I post some articles about TV show news and stuff like that that you might find of interest. And then you can reach us at fandomzonecast@gmail. Is that right?
At gmail.com.
Gmail.com.
That's right.
We have never seemed to get any mail there,
Yeah, I
but
know.
maybe people prefer Facebook and Twitter. I don't know, but
That's right.
it's available. It's there.
It sure is.
And then for me, you can reach me at Charles Skaggs on Twitter. And I'm also on Instagram and the Google Plus for all you crazy kids on the Google Plus.
I love it.
Yeah, she loves that.
It's my favorite thing.
And my blog of geeky things, Damn Good Coffee and Hot, where I talk about a lot about the comic books and TV shows and movie casting, movie stuff, and Doctor Who and all kinds of stuff. So hopefully you dig it.
I saw a T-shirt today. What is his name on Twin Peaks?
Dale Cooper or
Okay.
Kyle MacLachlan.
Cooper.
Yeah.
Cooper.
Yeah.
I saw a T-shirt that had the Archer.
Yes,
opening
I
screen.
have that shirt.
Do you really?
Yes, I do.
And he's holding the coffee.
Yes,
It says
that's why I
Cooper.
was like, I wish you would watch Twin Peaks because
Yeah, see, I like that shirt.
Yeah.
I would get that
it's
shirt.
an awesome, yeah.
But
It's the Archer reset of
I know
Dale Cooper.
I would think that you would be mad at me if I got that shirt, but I love that shirt.
No.
I would wear it.
I would tell you what, I would if next week I will wear that shirt for you, just for you.
Please do.
I will.
I love it.
I'm gonna write myself a note to wear that shirt.
Yeah, see, I love the pop culture reference of that shirt. I
And-
just
And rest in
haven't
peace,
watched it.
rest in peace, George Coe, Woodhouse.
Oh yes, Woodhouse.
We were sad to lose.
Not just Woodhouse. I
No,
mean,
but he was like I've known that guy since Saturday Night Live back in the
Oh,
70s.
yeah. he was part of the first cast.
He
of
was on
Saturday Night
Max
Live.
Headroom.
Yeah,
He was big on Max Headroom. So
yeah, he was one of the original Saturday Night Live players.
right.
He was the oldest member
Mhm.
of the Saturday Night Live players until this last season, when I can't remember her name. He was 45 years old, and
Oh.
it was broken by, she's 47 years old.
Leslie?
Leslie, thank you, yes.
Yeah, Leslie, who's now in the female Ghostbusters.
The female Ghostbusters, correct.
Yeah.
But George Coe, God, so prolific, and man, I don't know what they're going to do about Woodhouse.
I don't either. Maybe like they
So-
bring in another member of the
Oh, they
family.
can't recast him. Oh,
Another Woodhouse
Woodhouse's
member.
another brother.
Yeah, well, they could bring in Dickie.
It's my brother
Good.
George and
His
my
bro-
other brother George.
His brother Dickie.
Yeah.
Well, they've already introduced Dickie, so it's
Yeah.
possible.
I'm so sad.
So Lou, where can they find you?
On the Twitter, you can find me at Old Double D Darth, and podcast wise, Karen and I are still churning out our Farscape episodes. We're about
That's
halfway
right.
Churning
through
out like
season
it's a chore.
4.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of weird because we've had them in the can for almost over a year now. But
Yeah,
they're
we
still-
haven't
still-
done
they're
one
s-
in
They're still
forever.
coming out.
That
Also,
is the Scapecast, by the way.
yes, the
Mhm.
Skatecast, and I also do a small Council Game of Thrones podcast with the Tuning into Sci-Fi people. And my final podcast that I do is the Stephen King podcast, which you can find at Lilia's Library. And yeah, other than that, the Twitter, and I'm on some of the other things too, Google Plus and that. But Twitter is probably the best place to find me.
Yep. And I am at Aliveria, and I have my About Me link there. I'm so boring comparatively. I mean, there's a zillion links on About Me, but
Yep.
you know,
You don't want to go through them all.
no. If I went through them all, we'd be at 3 hours.
I know. I want to know, what about JKL or JKL
Yeah.
Media?
I mean, it's still set up and everything. We just haven't done one in a while.
Yeah, I've kind of missed
These guys
that.
are
I
just
like
so
the-
busy.
I
Her
like
and Jesse are
I like
all over the
JKL.
place.
Well, Jesse
keep talking
keeps
about
doing
stuff.
like 5,000 podcasts now.
I know.
know.
Every
You-
time he
he-
tweets, it's like, this is another one?
Yeah,
Oh, my
he's
goodness.
like so addicted, and I'm like, dude, how are you still married?
I know. I know. I don't even do that many.
Lori freaks out over like me doing 2 of these a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know how how he does it.
Oh.
He needs
I
a
don't
job quick.
He
Mhm.
does. He's going to be recording an episode of Stormy and the Castle this week
Mhm.
Ah.
with Tom Zoller. He and Tom will be talking. And he has asked if I wanted to join him, but I don't want to horn in. So I don't know whether I will or not. I think it's just out of courtesy
Yeah.
that he's asking me.
No,
Did you,
go
Karen,
ahead.
did you tweet that you were going to Dragon Con this year?
It's a wish of mine.
Oh,
No.
oh, okay. Oh,
It's
it was
still
for
something
sure.
I am hoping.
How about you, Charles?
Well, I'm going to be going to Salt Lake Comic Con here
Oh,
in
okay.
September, and then I'm always at Ohio Comic Con because it's right here in Columbus.
Uh-huh.
So I do
Yep.
that one. But yeah, going out to Salt Lake, and so gotta see Chris Evans,
Ooh,
who's supposed to be
Captain
out there.
America.
Anthony Daniels, and
C-3PO.
yep, and River Song,
Cool.
and Captain Jack Harkness.
Ooh,
Yeah, so
very
some
nice.
cool people out there. So I'm gonna,
Awesome.
Very nice.
and Firestorm.
Ooh.
Really?
Yeah.
Robbie Amell?
Robbie Mill's supposed to be out there. So yeah,
Okay.
Firestorm. So I was like, oh, I need
Well,
autographs.
that could have been 2 people.
That's true.
Been either one of
If only that they would have got Victor Garber. Oh,
Yeah,
that would
Victor
be
Garber's
that would be
awesome.
fantastic because
I
Yeah.
love him.
I've loved him since Alias and just
Yep.
as Jack Bristow. He was the best.
I beat you. I love him since Godspell.
You
I
beat
go
me.
all the way back.
Okay.
I go all the way
So
back.
there you
Wow.
go.
I wasn't even born yet.
Who loves Victor Garber more? Competition.
No. I've loved him since I saw him in Godspell in like, I don't know, the mid 70s, late 70s.
Okay.
And I was like in junior high. We did Godspell in junior high. So that's why I
Ah.
watched it.
Got it.
Wow.
Okay.
So I was a singer even back then.
There you go.
So anyway, that's where you can reach us. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Fandom Zone.
This
And thank
really
you, Lou-
long episode.
thank you, Lou, for joining us.
Yes,
Thank you
thanks.
very
Lou.
much for asking me.
You're always welcome to come back.
Always. And
All right.
guess.
Open invitation.
that is it for this week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.